So we've got a compilation of, I guess you said the past 2 Thursdays?
Yep. Yep.
Cool. So got a fair bit of footage. Let's not waste too much time. Dive right in. It's a pretty stiff looking purple belt on Danny, so I think this was the night that he got promoted.
I believe so.
Justin ready to make him question if he's worthy of the promotion or not. We'll let your actions speak for you, Justin. Kurt's doing good to stay pretty active.
He is, yeah. I'm trying to I'm trying to hit some sort of a sweep, and I can't hook his leg and drive forward at the same time. He's doing a really good job staving me off with some stiff arms up top. And then, yep, I was like, Seoinage. Nope.
Justin had a real well-timed sweep there. Danny torturing him a little bit from this, like, not even a knee on belly, just kind of a shin position, but I think got his head a little too low beneath his hips, and Justin took advantage.
Nice.
No, and Cole's peeking out from behind the pillar with maybe Austin.
That sounds about right.
Good use of the front headlock, Justin, to keep Danny at bay there for a little bit. Obviously, you want to, think about what you're going to do next from there, right? You got the head and arm, so you could probably go for a back take to your right, Danny's left.
I think Danny's opting to just go in for a strangle here.
Yeah, Justin does well to turn the right way, though. I'm assuming Danny had a collar grip. It's hard to see.
Yeah.
Did you see the, like the baby make? Yeah, dude, this lo-fi playlist can get a little weird when jiu-jitsu's on. But we're just going to roll with it. Did you happen to see the fights yesterday? Jessica Andrade hit a standing Katagatame.
No way.
Yeah.
Finished it?
Yep.
Damn.
I don't remember. I don't think it was a title fight, but yeah, it was really impressive. She hung on. You don't really see the standing variation too frequently, but it was great.
I don't know that I've ever seen anybody finish it from there.
Yeah, I mean, she had her up against the cage. So that, nothing you're gonna see frequently in like jiu-jitsu when you could just try to like sit and fight from the ground with it. But Justin, good defense on your on this cross collar attempt from Danny here. He appears pretty deep on that. I don't know, his right arm could be a little bit deeper. He's using it well to transition, or trying to transition, but just good composure. Alright, we're skipping this song.
I never play the music.
I don't know if I could sit here for over an hour, just stare at muted footage of our students rolling.
That's what I do.
Gotta have something to bop my head to. Yeah, I know. I don't know how you do it.
no head control, but got the tab on that one.
And it's interesting. He looks like he's starting to attack. Like, if you
The right arm.
yeah, if you guessed here which arm he's gonna armbar, it would be the right arm. But he ends up making a switch.
Some purple belt shit, man.
Dude, it's next level.
Gives you, I'm telling you, give you superpowers.
Start shifting his hips around. What he did have, it may look like no head control. Not in the traditional sense. Like if Justin tried to pendulum his legs up,
Right.
he still has the leg over the body, so it'd be difficult, but I'd say possible. What Justin can't do here is a turning escape, like a run or a hitchhiker, because Danny's wedged his foot behind Justin's head.
Yep.
So if, assuming, you know, Justin tried to turn, hit a hitchhiker escape by bringing his feet out and around, getting his head out would be a lot more difficult now with the foot behind the head instead of
Right.
over it. So a good way to shut that escape down. But again, there are trade-offs. You know, you don't have the cross-facing leg with that, so it's a consideration you have to make as they are trying to escape. Let's see what Danny does to Caleb. I don't know, I'm like always interested in seeing how you guys handle like Caleb, Camden, maybe like some of the bigger guys from standing, especially when you're you know, outweighed or you know, much shorter.
Yep.
Don't know why I'm so interested in that.
Can't draw any corollaries to it.
No, not at all. Ooh. Not
Really good back and forth there.
yeah, not a bad attempt from Danny to try to set him up and over,
Not
like
at all. Yeah.
immediately gripping on that belt.
Yeah.
And then sitting underneath him. I just don't think he had the leverage. Like the knees were kind of high on the chest rather than under the
Sure.
hips.
He really had nothing else to do. He could either pull or he could start to sprawl. But
Right.
with the grip that Caleb had, it did not look like there was any chance of sprawling on that one. But his positioning up top has been obviously debilitating.
Caleb's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll see it. I mean, I think when we trained here, it did not end well for me.
Oh, I think he's hitting a little strangle there.
Oh, that
with
was
some
the
shoulder
paper cutter.
pressure. Oh, the
It
paper
was a
cutter.
paper cutter choke. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah, because I don't know if I was rolling. I know I rolled that first match, but I can't remember if I sat out or what. If this was when I hurt my knee or after. I can't remember. Another good sacrifice like Sumigashi, but with the headlock, you know?
Yeah, just didn't come up on the finish quickly enough. Or, I mean, he won the hip fight battle there, but Danny was able to switch his hips and retake the position.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try one thing real quick, because it looks like our playback is a little funky. We're just skipping ahead a few seconds. I want to make sure that this video isn't going to error out. Okay. We should be good. Never mind. We've got over an hour of footage here, so I want to, like, if I'm fast forwarding more than usual to all the viewers, yeah, I want to make sure we get through everything because it has been an active week. Great wrestling up, just a little too committed. And now Danny's got his triangle. We're seeing the same garbage he did to me. And by garbage, I mean really, you know, effective and strategically a good idea.
And again, going for the toe hold.
Yep.
At the same time, gets the tap.
Yeah.
I do not know whether it was the toe hold or the triangle that finished.
So looking at Caleb's hand, trapped hand, it looks like he's got his elbow down, but there's just so much bite on that triangle that he probably can't get the hand fully out. So I would say the triangle probably is, again, just control. And then Danny's, you know, putting a good crank. He seems to have the you know, the leverage down for that toe hold. That's right, Justin. That's what I said, and I meant it. Caught you slipping there with your head a little low. And this kind of harkens back to Mike, what you were teaching this past week with the snap downs to the front headlocks.
Right.
Just getting your armpit above the crown of your opponent's head and placing that shoulder right over on top of their neck or between the shoulder blades and exhibiting control from there. Let's keep it going.
I think this is the last match for this particular day. I don't know, my camera needs to get reformatted. I think some of the footage got all jumbled up.
Oh.
I always like to see how people try and break down the turtle position. Justin plays very, very tight here. And it's not the easiest to try and break him down.
Justin plays a tight turtle all the time. Like he's definitely one of the more difficult ones to contend with from that position.
Do you recommend exercising the neck for jiu-jitsu? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think so. Number one, exercise in general outside of jiu-jitsu is important. Strength training, doing whatever. You know, I find that very beneficial to jiu-jitsu. Neck training, I mean, especially with all of the posts and things that you use your head for, like the top of your head, you know, to prevent, you know, when you ride up really high and put pressure high up on the chest, for instance, when you guard pass, you know, it definitely would not hurt.
Yeah, my so admittedly, I don't do neck weight training as frequently as I probably should. Like, I have a head harness for like doing neck extensions and all that. I used to do it a lot more and just kind of lost pace with it in my typical workout routine. I think a lot of like the bridging, like you watch wrestlers doing neck bridges. I mean, there's footage of like Mike Tyson back in the day doing like these crazy powerful neck bridges, and you know, you see the tree trunk of a neck that he has. It's a good thing to do just for the health and safety of your neck in general. Yeah, I can't really think of a downside. Maybe if you get it too big and you start snoring real bad and your spouse gets mad at you, but that's about it. Welcome to the channel, Odo, by the way. Thanks for the follow, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you use the iron neck. I've heard that that helps out a lot.
You have one of those, James? I've thought about getting one. They're a little pricey for being a single use thing, which is kind of breaks my rules of my home gym. Good attempt on the bow and arrow there from Caleb.
And way
Justin,
to stay calm and attack the elbow here.
yeah, that was really smart. I mean, because that's like the crucial mechanic of this move is slipping your head out of the hole here and getting the elbow back in front of your face. That takes all the slack out of, or that puts slack back into the collar strangle there. Yeah, man, I'd love to try it out if you don't mind. I'm really curious about like the rotational resistance part of it, because I feel like that's not something you can easily do. I mean, you can do it with a head harness, but I don't know. I like at least the idea of what I've seen the Iron Neck accomplishes. Aiden coming at it with the fury.
Yeah. So I definitely want to second what Justin said in the chat. So Odo, yeah, tips on working when rolling, breathing, is probably the one thing that I know every single white belt I have to like talk to, or when I'm training with them and stuff. It's the one thing that really singles it out is, especially, I don't know your background, right? But if you've never trained before, it can be very intimidating, with somebody, getting on top of you, putting a lot of pressure down, doing things and you not knowing how to get out, right? And being calm is probably the single most, and just like kind of going with it, is probably the single most important thing that we try to kind of break in the white belts, right? The next thing is like, do what your coach teaches you, right? So like what they show in class, the techniques and things like that, your coach knows, the upper belts know, go with them, right? And also don't be scared to train with upper belts, even though you'll get smashed and beat up. That's how you learn.
If they're shitty upper belts, yeah, then getting beat up. But like, I don't know, at our school, and any of our students in the chat can definitely attest to this. Like we put a significant amount of like, I don't know, just it's really important to like train to the level of your partner. So if you got some egotistical like 19-year-old purple belt who wants to like just beat up on a white belt, you don't have to train with that guy. But hopefully you have some people at your gym that are down to train, down to teach, all that stuff. It's an important part of having a healthy school.
And don't ever be ashamed to tap.
Absolutely not, dude.
No.
When you're a purple belt, when you ask that question to us again, when you're a purple belt and you switch those belts, should you be ashamed for easily getting tapped by white belts? The answer will still be no. Like,
right.
You tune in long enough, you'll see both of us getting tapped by the lower belts, and that is a crucial part of training for us and for the the white belts, the blue belts, the purple belts. What good is it to smash everybody that you train with? Nobody learns lessons that way, not even you. So no shame in tapping ever. Do it early and do it often.
Yep.
Sorry to totally hijack that that answer.
No. It's obviously something that we're all very passionate about, right? And as you can see, we all agree. No shame.
Yeah, as far as like what makes a gym quote unquote legit, right? Because I don't know, a first place to start, one of the easiest things to like nail down is lineage. So the black belt who runs your school, or black belts in the case of our school, if they are typically trained under like well-known, well-respected black belts or coral belts in the sport. The name Gracie often gets thrown around a lot, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they trained under a member of that family or have like a strong lineage with that family. But names like Machado, Gracie, of course. Who else? I mean, like I'm trying not to even think of who is that. Oh yeah, DeBlas, of course. Got it.
Right.
Totally. Let's clip that out and make sure that never gets seen. But then Almeida, right? Who was
Sauer.
was Pedro Sauer, like all sorts of guys who have been in the game for decades. They have a lot of black belts, and those are the guys who tend to be opening up and running schools now, so that's a good thing to check. Pay attention to oh, you go to Gracie Baja. Okay. They're like a huge school, so I don't even know what affiliation, like how you would like describe their affiliation. I don't know. They're huge, so
it's very broad. I've heard good and bad things, and it strictly depends on the owner of the gym.
Yeah, and the culture they want to build.
I would like if I had one thing. Obviously, technique and the quality of training is a very important aspect of it. But man, like for me, the gym culture kind of says it all. If you feel like I don't know, for instance, if people are shaming you for tapping to a purple belt, I don't know. I'm trying not to put words in your mouth or anything, right? But like, if you feel ashamed because other people are kind of shaming you for that, like,
look at RJ.
That's garbage. Oh yeah.
RJ's doing well.
So I think it's largely cultural. You know, like how comfortable you feel, and then the technique and everything obviously is a huge part of it as well. And you'll see that through competition, right? So if your team competes, you can always go and watch them in competition. If they're training and beating the shit out of people in local comps and stuff, then you know at least that the technique is legit.
Yeah, the level of instruction's good.
Right.
Another thing of the quote unquote bad I've heard from Gracie, like, Gracie Baja, they're pretty strict on like their uniform code, which that can piss some people off because, a lot of times they're like, you have to wear a gi, you have to wear our rash guards. Not everybody likes that. So that's kind of a personal decision on your part if that's something you want to pay into. What else? I mean, another thing, like some gyms can get pretty cliquey, especially bigger gyms. It's kind of a consequence of any large group of people. We try to be as inclusive, at our school. Everybody can, any white belt can ask a higher belt to train. Not all schools are like that. You shouldn't be a second thought to your professor because you're a lower belt. Some schools are like that. White belts don't get much attention or whatever. But to get honestly, man, to get the most out of it, like, ask every question you have. Find a training partner that is, about your size and experience level. I mean, Mike and I, we trained as blue belts and definitely just excelled our own progress because we were both really interested in training all the time. We're, you're bigger than me, but we're similarly sized. You're not, 6'4", 300 pounds or anything. So,
right.
That'll be a big help.
To learn.
Yeah. Definitely be curious. And if you need a starting place, I always tell white belts to start with positional escapes for their primary focus. Learn how to get out of pins, learn how to get out of mount, learn how to get out of side control, and build strong defensive instincts. I'm falling behind on this chat. Very nice. Only schools, problems with their MMA style gyms. Yeah, some of those guys, a lot of those guys, they're trying to make names for themselves. They got big egos. They're tough. Like, I'm not disparaging them. But yeah, like the jiu-jitsu culture is a little. I should say an MMA gym doesn't have the same sort of culture as jiu-jitsu gyms all the time. I've seen that too at some other gyms, but never had a bad experience. Nice, Brandon.
So Deathcore, you were the what if guy.
Yeah.
We all know the what if guys.
Explain that. Maybe Odo's not familiar.
Yeah, so, he's showing armbar from guard.
RJ trying to hit Masoto Gari on Luke.
Oh, dude, she goes ham all the time. Yeah, so yeah, the what if guys is like, you know, you're trying to show a basic technique, and you know, I mean, what you'll find is that jujitsu is very situational based, right? Because we spar, but it's live rolling, so you can obviously give a multitude of responses to certain things, and so you always show, like, again, armbar from guard is a good example. It's like, oh, well, what if somebody pulls their arm out, or what if somebody is, you know, 6'4", 240 pounds, and they stack me. You know, in the what if I do this, what if I do that, and you know, I mean, of course, there are always answers to those what if questions. It's just, it's always funny with the newer people, because you feel the need to explain it, and honestly,
It can derail
the
a lesson, though.
Derails the lesson 100%. Yeah. But if like, I will make the statement as being a coach right now that if you can't explain that shit, then you shouldn't be coaching it, right? Yeah. Like, you know, if you can't tell somebody, what do I do? Like, what do I do if I get stacked? You know, I'm not going to tell you to let go. You know what I mean? Like, you got to do something else, right?
Yeah.
So
do neck exercises, so when they slam you on the ground, you don't whip your head. No, like my answer for the what if thing, that's what open mat's for. Ask those questions at open mats of the higher belt. Don't ask it during drilling. I like it because it can derail a lesson, and there are multiple answers to every single move that's made. Every move has a counter. Every move has more than one counter. So ask those questions, you know, at open mats. You'll get better answers too. As far as what night, this is last Thursday, right? Like this past Thursday?
I'm pretty sure this was this past Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're,
it's either this...
No, wait, Luke's teaching. Or Luke was there. He was getting a Soto guard by...
Okay. 2 Thursdays. Yeah.
Okay. I got you.
This was the night that I actually hurt my knee, if I'm not mistaken.
And then, yeah, I kept rewatching this. Danny had a nice collar drag here on Justin. Just wanted to see how he... Okay, so he just kind of kept him going. He didn't really even... I guess Justin's left leg gets caught in behind his butt on that trip, but it was well timed. And then Odo's question, did we ever feel discouraged during white belt that we were able to do the drills perfectly but can't apply it in rolling?
Bro, I do it now. I'm a brown belt.
I was going to say, spoiler alert, that never goes away.
Doesn't go away, yeah.
The difference...
Luke will show, or even hell, Matt will show me some stuff, right? Like from standing, you know, and I'll try to implement it during a live training session, and I won't be able to, right? Somebody will fall on top of me or whatever.
Yeah.
That shit happens, man.
Don't be discouraged with that. Like I said before, there are multiple counters to every move, and you're not always going to have the right answer at the right moment. And even if you're like, you know, let's say, so if you're a white belt in your first month, you've probably either have learned or will be learning an UPA or a trap bridge and roll from when someone's mounted on you, right? And you're gonna nail them in training, and you're gonna be like, oh, it's so easy to get a guy off of me from mount, and then you're gonna hit it, or you're gonna try to hit it in live training. Danny's got another solid little armbar there. You'll try to hit it in live training, and all of a sudden your training partner learns how to base out, and you don't have an answer for that, right? So now you need to develop your UPA even more. You know, or, you know, you forget because you're a little hyped up that you don't bridge straight up, you bridge to a side. So your UPA fails because all you did was, you know, bridge up instead of to a side, and the guy was able to like maintain his base. So you train the ideal in drilling, like the ideal you know, form of the move, and when you're rolling live, your goal is to get as close to that ideal as you can, right? And very, very often you won't reach the perfect execution, but a lot of times it'll be good enough, or you'll get a reaction from your partner that you can exploit, and change up your approach. Just, man, remember, you said it yourself, you started your journey, right? It is very much that. It's a long one. It takes a lot of hours on the mat to start putting things together. But when you have those like eureka moments, those successful, like, oh my God, that worked, I did it. Those are really, really great moments to experience. So you got to keep showing up to get those.
Actually, here's a decent example of this, right? So, and this is something, Odo, that I teach it. Matt teaches it. It's just basic guard passing, okay? To where I'm trying to peel this guy that I'm up in the top here, the black gi here, and I'm trying to pass Pat's guard, right? And I've got like heavy top pressure on him. I'm working around, I'm trying to figure this out, right? And he has my left leg and I can't get it out. So one of the easy, like, it's a relatively easy thing to do is for me to put good top pressure on, pick my foot up, find his knee, and start prying it open in order to get my left foot out. And I teach it, it works on so many other people, and I wasn't able to get it to work, right? I couldn't get him to go over to the hip, the side that I wanted him to go to. I couldn't get him to do anything. So again, just a technique that, again, I teach it, Matt teaches it, we all teach it, and then I'm actively sitting here struggling against a guy.
A blue belt too, a lower belt.
A blue belt, sure, a lower belt. I can't get it. So I have to switch up my tactic and do something different. And that is passing by submission threat.
Looks like Caleb's getting pretty comfy with some leg entanglements.
He's getting there, yeah, and that's scary. That's a scary thing, yes.
Great questions, though, Odo. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, keep them coming.
Good answers from the chat, too. You'll have to let us know when you get that first stripe on your white belt. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, man.
All right, Camden, if you're watching this, I yelled at you a lot, so maybe this may have been before I yelled at you. So this whole, like, mount escape via, you know, legs up around the waist, you can find videos of guys being successful with this. And, you know, I'm not going to say it's a terrible move or a bad move. But it's not as effective as a lot of other, much more easy, and more successful mount escapes. Knee elbow escape being one of them. I know I've taught that to you before. I'd really, really want to see you working that more than I ever want to see you trying to, like, back roll and get your legs around somebody and getting toe held, I don't know, by Caleb.
That's tense of toe hold.
Yeah, toe held. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cole doing a good job controlling the legs here. And even, it's funny, he's using a more no-gi approach, right? You notice he's not really gripping the pants at all.
Yep. Which,
you know, I would change that, Cole, if I were you. Like, grip those pant legs right at the knee, right where you have it. Grab that cloth. Because, you know, planting on a leg like this is great if you're just trying to pin it down, but if you're trying to move it, you know, laterally, you're going to need to grip and pull aside. And when we're wearing a gi, that's one of the best ways to work, like Toriando passes and all that. So start using those handles. 4 days a week for an hour each. I mean, there is no, like, specification on stripes. I think it's largely up to your coach. Yeah, deathcore, I'd say, is, I mean, that makes sense. It's, yeah, but it comes down to your coach's methods and all that. I hope, like, again, back to your question about a good school, you can tell here everybody in a black gi is a coach. We roll with every single student, right? And unfortunately, not all schools are like that. I hope your school is like that. The best way to know how well a student is doing, in my opinion, isn't by belt tests. It's by rolling with them and rolling with them frequently. So if that's how your coach handles things, he'll feel the progression that you're making, and I'm sure he'd be happy to award you a stripe. But yeah, at your rate, at you said 4 days a week, an hour a piece. That's good time. That's 16 hours a month. Give you a couple months, you'd probably get a stripe. You rolling with Austin? Yeah.
Yep.
He's doing good on the regarding. He's making it a real pain in the ass for you.
Yeah. Literally just trained guard passing with him yesterday for a full six minutes, where I'd pass his guard, he'd re-guard, and then I'd go back. That's good training.
Yeah. Odo, for you can consider that too when you're training. Like, I always tell our students, and I have to remind myself sometimes, that open mats don't always have to be death matches with each other. Mm-hmm. It's mostly what you're going to see here because it's the most fun to do. But yeah, a lot of time, like Mike was just saying, he trained guard passing, right? You can train, like I would yell at Camden probably a few minutes ago and say, all right, for the next 6 minutes, we're training mount escapes. You can kind of just pick something to focus on and utilize your time efficiently. No, James, for you, they have to be.
Yeah, it's a must.
We're trying to make you a monster, so you're kind of already there, and it probably didn't have much to do with us. I was so glad that even Brandon was like, why are we going over front headlocks with James here?
I know.
We don't need to teach him any more of this stuff. I was thinking the exact same thing when we started class. And we had James paired with the new guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, break his arm.
Well, we appreciate it. Find myself getting more tired when I roll against white belts than I do against higher belts.
You want to take that one?
I mean, it's for me, it's normally like you're not expecting to do well against the upper belts, so you kind of tend to chill and relax when even though they're beating the shit out of you, right? Like,
it's an interesting take. Yeah,
you can just kind of, you understand it, right? Like, it's like, oh well, this guy's a purple or a brown belt, I'm a white belt, so
you accept your death.
Yeah. You just you meet your fate, right? Whereas with the white belts, it's kind of like, oh, this guy started about the same time as me, or maybe he started a month ago. I got this, right? Like, let me show coach who's boss here, right? Like, who deserves that? That's my. I mean, obviously, it's dependent on somebody's mentality. Odo, I think it's all mental.
I would add to that. White belts, and you may be one of them and not even realize it, Odo, are spazzy as shit, and tend to. Oh, it's okay. A little skip there. They fly around and spin around, and they grip and they rip and they strain and they push and they pull really hard until they're all out of breath. So you put two of them together, and it's a recipe for a big puddle of sweat on the mat. So they might come at a higher intensity because they don't know no better, and you end up matching their pace. Whereas, a good higher belt, like Mike was saying, they'll do their thing, and you'll kind of like go at their speed, and they're letting you work, and it's this mutual agreement where you guys are kind of rolling a bit more harmoniously than two spazzy white belts trying to do some cool thing they saw on Instagram. At Mooresville BJJ. Follow us. Like, comment, subscribe.
Plug one for the night.
Yeah. And to all of our Twitch Prime followers or subscribers, if it's expired, check. Yeah, thank you, obviously, of course. But do it again. Keep subbing. And I found out if you were one of the first subscribers and you've got the little first badge next to your name,
Yeah.
That's the founder's badge, right? So I think it's to the first 10 people who subscribe. And then if you turn that off, which you have to turn it off in your own profile, then you'll, if you're subscribing, then you'll get like the white belt, the blue belt, the purple belt that we set up. So the founder's badge like always takes precedent over those belts or those other badges, I guess. So if you guys care about that, go Google how to turn off your founder's badge. Whole lot I'm talking over here. Basically everything. So let's go back a little bit.
I think it depends on the upper belt, Odo, that you're training with. If they let you work, right, and positionally advance, and then you can see how they escape, or maybe you put them in a submission and they escape from the submission, or hell, if they let you apply it and you get the tap or whatever, you see what works, what doesn't work. If you're going to get somebody who's an upper belt that's just going to railroad you and run through you, then yeah, it might be more beneficial for you to go with somebody more along the lines of your skill level right now. But if you've got good upper belts, they'll let you work, and I think it's more beneficial to train with the upper belts. But definitely sprinkle it in, right? You got to give it a little bit of a mix. I don't know. What do you think, Matt?
In general, let's see. Let's make sure I'm answering your question. More beneficial. So if you're rolling with a higher belt, I don't want to it isn't more or less beneficial. Like, those aren't the words I would use. I would say if you're going to roll with a higher belt, adjust your expectations and your training goals. Make your victories building your defense against higher belts, building your offense against lower belts, and testing yourself against people your level, right? So you've got kind of a spectrum to go on. If you're up against a brown belt or a black belt, you're not going to do well offensively if they don't want you to. But if you make it very difficult for them to sub you, that's a great thing. That's a great exhibition of your progress, right? If you're let's say when you're a 4-stripe white belt and, the new Odo walks into the gym and he's, inexperienced, you should probably have 1 or 2 good subs that you can use on him. And he it should be somewhat, I don't want to say impossible for him to sub you, but it should be difficult for him to sub you. And then, you look at blue belts as a 4-stripe white belt, and that's, where you test yourself. Can I hang with the blue belts? Can I give them trouble? Can I shut down their attacks on me? So don't think about it as beneficial or not beneficial. Adjust how you're training with them and what your expectations are. Cole here has an overhook on his left side and an underhook. We can't see the underhook right now, but in a second you'll see it. He's trying to sweep Luke here, but he's taking him to the underhook side, which Luke just easily shuts down, right? Because he's working against an underhook. There's nothing stopping him from basing out here. So Cole, next time you're working this over-under position, see where your legs are. I mean, you've got a great position here. You got 2 butterfly hooks. You want to be sweeping to this side, right? Sweep to the overhook side and clamp your elbow down more over Luke's elbow. That's what's going to make it difficult for him to base out and make that sweep work. So took him to the wrong side. Trying to maintain your guard. I know it's damn near impossible against Luke. But yeah, keep that in mind. I know you like working with those overhooks right now. Just make sure you're using them. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna want to fall to the underhook side with that over under. Let's keep going ahead. What does Luke get on here? I think Luke just has him in like an Americana. Yeah. Focus on being on the bottom and working my guard. Yeah. One, if you have a mentor, that's awesome. Someone who's willing to help you or guide you through some of the earlier belts. That's great. And the higher belts. It doesn't need to be just in the early belts. And yeah, that kind of folds in with what I was saying. Like, focus on positional escapes. You should at this level, be getting comfortable. Looks like Cole's trying to go to the overhook side there. A little better. Get comfortable in those bad positions. Learn how to escape those. Make that your primary focus for now. Defense should be the first thing you start to work on. What were you gonna say?
So the way that Luke is defending this butterfly position is an interesting. It's not. I mean, it's an interesting one because he did it exactly the same way with the previous. So you were saying how Cole wasn't turning to the left-hand side with the earlier one. If you look at the way that Luke cuts his angle, he's actually cutting the angle on Cole rather than Cole cutting the angle on him. So see how Luke has his head positioned on to the right side of Cole's body onto his left side, and he's got his hips shifted to the left. It's going to be very, very difficult for Cole to turn Luke that way because all of his weight is over top of the hook that's supposed to be lifting. So Luke knows that. He positions himself accordingly, and he weighs really, really heavy on the hook that's supposed to be lifting. And then when Cole lets up, Luke is just walking around the guard.
Yeah. That's a great point. Something Cole can consider here. I know I love to do this against bigger guys. As he extracts that foot here, instead of taking it all the way out and putting it on the outside position, put it on the knee. Yep. And then you'll see right here, right? Like you said, Cole's right leg would be the one elevating, right? You can think about it when you're elevating. What you're really trying to do is change the hip position, right? So you're trying to tip the hips towards the direction you want to go. You could do that by either elevating a leg or kicking the other leg out from underneath it. The whole intention is to get the hips outside of the base of the knees and get it closer to the ground so that you can take the hip height. You got two ways to do that. Lift with one leg or take his other basing leg out from underneath him. Against bigger opponents, I find that to be a good approach because you're using the pushing power of your leg. It's much more powerful than your arms. It doesn't always work because sometimes, their knee is just, it has all of their weight on them, so it's difficult to move them. But you can kind of elongate that side of their body and keep them from regaining their base as you start to tip them over. Cole's really trying to pull on that. Imagine if he had that pull of his posterior chain there in effect with the push of his leg to take him over. I feel like that would have been a real troublesome spot for Luke.
I believe so, yeah. You can even rest, because I don't know if you do this, I know I do this, but rest the foot on the hip, because sometimes, people obviously know that you can kick out if you've got the foot on the knee. But you could rest the foot on the hip and then, constantly push and switch the foot position on the hip and the knee to give them some trouble there.
Yeah, that's those are just good general rules, though. An extended arm is an isolated arm, and an isolated arm is easily broken. Same for legs, same with the neck. So learning good defensive posturing is going to be a primary focus for you right now, or it should be. Working that standing guard break.
Yeah, I need to get my posture back, right? That's my...
Brandon, oh man.
Yep.
Brandon was doing a great job. It looked like you were trying to make the switch to the armbar there, which is awesome. You kept, yeah, like he's pulling his knees down. You could tell he's disrupting your posture. He's starting to isolate the arm, and then you could see him trying to swing that leg around. In fact, I don't even, so like the armbar is almost set up there, but the way he's extending his leg in this direction,
it's a pendulum sweep. Yeah.
Yeah. Looks more. That's the good thing about it. If one doesn't work, the other's right there. Good looks, man. it didn't quite work out just because Mike passed your guard, but that was a really great attempt at the setup.
It really was.
Danny putting a backbreaker on Caleb. You see that?
Yeah.
So I don't even know what he had there. He had a leg underneath. He had his left leg underneath Caleb.
He had like a scissor, like the scissor choke or whatever the hell you call it, right? Like, because
Yeah.
I don't think he had an arm trapped, right?
No, it doesn't look like a triangle. But then he's cranking on the arm. Immediately checks on him. Danny's very kind, gentle training partner. Oh, James with the white belt on now. Turned off that flare.
It's not blurry to me. I'm watching another one, Caleb, and it looks clear.
Yeah, maybe you're drunk.
No, because mine's still clear. Get it?
Get better internet, Caleb. Is this Aiden and Justin going? I think so. Yeah. So Aiden was talking some mad smack on the last stream at Justin. Or maybe he wasn't, but I'm just going to say he was. It's sensei.
Senpai.
Or professor. Or doctor.
That's fair. Sifu. That's another one.
Master.
All of the above.
Master
right?
school. Yeah. I'll answer to master.
It's funny, towards the end of the night, you just see people drifting more and more towards the clock, away from the camera.
Yeah. Are any of you guys ever self-conscious about being on camera, actually? Like truly? You're like, oh, I'm real tired. This is going to be a terrible role. I don't want it to be recorded.
I forget the camera's there, to be honest with you.
I mean, I want us to have good footage, so I make it a point to train right here, like, every time. If no one else is there, I don't want to hog it, but...
You want to see what you did wrong.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
all
the
my
right
matches have been
attitude.
Right there. Yeah. No shame.
Is that... Who's working that triangle? That's... Oh, it's Danny.
Yeah. Switch to the arm bar. He's got a 3/4 juji. Back to the trap triangle. Trying to cut the angle.
Have you seen Danny working triangles lately? I feel like I haven't
Yep.
seen those from him. Like, in a
He has
while. Okay.
Well, you know what? I mean, shit. We have the past 2 weeks right here, so like, at least on Thursdays, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this was 2 Thursdays ago.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just always been, you know, at least among the school, like, the headlock guru.
Let's rewind.
Yeah, let's find it. Dick punch. Odo, you're gonna have to train for these. Was it before this? His attempted takedown.
Oh.
I love that you caveated that with attempted.
Stifled by the dick punch. Thwarted. Boom.
One more time. You know who this doesn't happen to? Me. Because I wear a cup.
Forehead. Masvidal. Whatever his name is. See, that's what Ben Askren was missing out on.
Yeah. Pulled me into it. Let's keep going ahead a little bit.
Yeah. I gotta step away for a minute. I'll be right back.
Yep. Justin being annoying with his lapel gripping. So Aiden had a good idea there where he started to kind of lose the battle up top and he decided to switch to a leg attack. Again, this is, you know, Guy, and he's a white belt, so I don't... I mean, it's not even reaping. I would say instead of... let me get my arrow. Instead of putting the leg here across the waist, try to weave it in underneath that far leg. Get yourself into a good cross-ashi position to control that primary leg that you're hugging right now. That'll give you some more options, and it'll hide your foot from any counters that Justin may try. If Justin was, if you felt like punishing you further than the dick punch, that's an exposed heel right there. So keep that in mind. That's why we hide our legs in that cross-ashi position, or one of the reasons. I guess the primary reason would be you have control over the hip and the leg, but secondary, you're a lot harder to counterattack. Justin accepting no grips right now. Is it bad manners to do a wrist or ankle lock in the gi? No, man. They're legitimate moves. Wrist locks have a reputation for being dirty, but I think it's nice little hip toss. It's just because people get embarrassed when they get caught in them. Plenty of people tap to wrist locks. Don't slam them home. I like to threaten them and make people realize they screwed up and then just kind of let them go. Ankle locks have less of that stigma, even though it's the wrist lock of the leg, basically. But no, it's a great move, and often an introductory. It's the gateway drug for leg locks, the straight ankle. So no, learn it, do it, get good at them, threaten your training partners with them. The foot wrist. Was that a little, let's see, what did Caleb have? I think Caleb's still working that little, like, kind of Von Flue shoulder pressure into the neck. Now that's a dick move, more than a wrist lock. But also effective. Justin, were you trying to go for a Tomonagi, kind of like a throw where you put the foot on the hip and then send them up and over? Or was that just purely a guard pull? Just curious. Correct, no manipulating fingers. Single digit manipulation will, that's how you learn what mat justice is. When people start doing that, they might get a little meaner. Or if you do that to somebody, they'll get a little bit meaner. Guard pull, okay. I was just curious. It looked like you may have been able to turn that if you kept his shoulders closer to you as you went down and got his head below his hips. You may have been able to turn that into a nice little sacrifice throw. Admittedly, that's a move that it's called a Tomonagi, and it's either done to the side or overhead. It's not something I've ever been very proficient at. I should spend some time trying that. Maybe I could I don't know. Maybe next time we're at class, you and I could pull aside and train that, because they are good moves to learn, and they look sick when you execute them well. And I would rather do a throw like that over like a Seonagi, you know, the arm shoulder throw where you just expose your back. You know, with the Tomoe-nage, you're putting your back to the mat, so the risk of the back take from a failed takedown is nil there for a back take. And if that fails, you can kind of get to guard pretty easily. What's Aiden doing here? Looking for a little backside 50-50. Something. Oh, there you are. Was that just like a mic drop toe hold? Did you see that? Like, yeah, get off of me. Give me that. Give me that. Break. All right. Anyway, light work. Harkening back to my grip comment for Cole, I imagine Caleb there was gripping pants cloth instead of just pushing on the knees as he cut his angle, for a kind of slow but effective Toreando. Toreandos don't need to be fast, but makes it a lot easier to just walk around the legs when you grip at the knees. Aiden, you gotta try harder not to get belly down, flattened out like that. You did good when you turn over like that. Just get to turtle position, get your hips up. Now you're in for a world of pain.
Now you got me and Cole and Danny laughing at you. It's like, man, that's gotta suck. Yeah,
that probably hurts more than the actual submission. Just being laughed at by a row of higher belts against the wall.
Did you just smack him in the head?
Probably. Nice. Muffle. Oh, it hit him with the paper cutter.
Yep.
Nice. Caleb's putting that to good use. The cool thing about the paper cutter from mount position is, look, besides getting slapped for doing it, look what it does to your opponent's hands. They start to isolate their own arms because they have to, if it's done correctly, they need to reduce the constriction on their neck, right? They got to defend the strangle, so they use their arms to do that a lot of times, which opens up your ability to attack the arms if that's really what you're going for. So if you like, arm triangles, you can hit a paper cutter, get them defending, capture their arm, go into your katagatame. Little guard pull. Good way to get that knee to the inside. I don't know what happened there, but that was a much better downward pressure on the back of the knee to break Caleb down. Yeah, that was where he failed the first time when he got toe holded. Is he going for a Mikey lock? I didn't know if Aiden knows what that is.
Or it's on Instagram.
Toe hold shootout. But since Aiden kicked Caleb, I'm assuming Caleb got the better of it. Nice. Justin and Austin in the back.
Yeah.
Good takedown. Let's go off camera a bit.
Back in, yeah. I was debating on cutting it out just because it's far away and it goes behind the pillar and comes back. So Justin, you're really, really high up on the hip, pinching your knees here. Yeah, I think I know you were going for a submission, and I obviously um, applaud that. But there's a couple of things. The first thing is once you're in that position to pass, or passing becomes way easier. The way that you have it, you go and you underhook the head. This is great, but here's the problem. When you move your hips that way, can you pause it here? Yeah. So the way that your hips are positioned, actually, the pass will come from. I guess you can really secure it 2 different ways that I can think of. The first most obvious way is to cut your hips to the right instead of to the left. Okay, so dragging your right knee and doing a baseball cut pass or a knee slide pass with your right knee driving it upward. But the way that your hips are positioned here, pinching your knees together and walking away is probably your best option. You had so much pressure on Austin here, and by circling to your right, his left gets his knees pointed in that far direction, and it becomes very simple for you to put a hand down, block the knee, and then step out and secure your pass. And here you went the opposite direction. So you pinched your knees, you had your hips cut, but instead of walking towards where you want the knees to point, you walked, towards the way that he wants his knees to point. And that's what gave him the ability to regard. If that didn't make any sense, okay, cool. If that didn't make any sense or whatever, we can obviously review it tomorrow or Tuesday or Thursday. So how did you get past? Okay, so he sits up, he's going for something, and when you come back down, you get past the knee shield.
So it looks like Austin extends his own leg.
Yep.
Justin comes
Maybe
over
a toe
top.
hold threat. Yeah.
And just gets chest to chest.
So again, great leg positioning here. Your knees are right where they need to be, past the bottom leg. Okay, looks like he has a scorpion or a lockdown on the far side. Yep. And it just gets frustrating as hell.
Up, jackets off. Ooh.
He's been hitting that left and right.
Let's see his setup. He's got the overhook, the underhook. And while he falls to the underhook side,
Good stuff.
he rolls to hit the finish on the overhook side. And then hopefully he gets guillotined.
So he's in a troublesome position here.
That was
but walks very well.
Yeah, that was really great defense. What I don't see is like panic gripping on the grips. I don't know. I can't tell what his left hand's doing, but the right hand's just like it gets into the legs and pins the knee down at the right time, right there, allowing him to step over and get safe. It's a really good awareness. Way to not panic through what appeared to be a pretty deep guillotine.
Grip fight by Danny. Right at the wrist, trying to get back where he can build hip height. Got it.
Nice.
He's on top. Or Danny's on top, rather.
The wrong thing, the good stuff. Just want to go back here for a second, see what happens here. Okay.
Big bridge.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, there should be a leg opportunity here, but both of Caleb's knees are behind Danny's butt. Right, right there. He pulls that bottom knee up. That other leg should be swinging up and over. That arm, I'd like to see, you know, capturing the ankle. And that way, you know, when you can transition, and Odo, this is a good thing for you to know too. You know, spend all your time getting these really, really solid mount escapes back to guard, right? But eventually, you're going to start to escape into submission opportunities. And this is, you know, mount escapes oftentimes lead to an isolated leg. So, Caleb, start looking for that. It looked like maybe you swiped for it there, but it's hard to tell. I can't say I know too much about Oliveira's jiu-jitsu pedigree. I mean, I'm sure he's a beast. I don't know. I mean, there are some UFC fighters that I guess I know more about their jiu-jitsu than others. But no, I mean, if he's in the UFC, I assume he's going to be a quite a killer on the ground. That's my riveting commentary on Charles Oliveira. Is he a favorite of yours? Sweeps are good. I tend to emphasize seeing really sharp, effective sweeps from higher blue belts when they're making their way up to purple. If you can understand the concepts and principles necessary to hit sweeps now, that's great. Just make sure you're shoring up your defenses. Sweeps are good for
That's a nice, yeah.
Sweeps are good for changing the tide from you know, a defensive cycle to an offensive cycle. Yeah, he must have had that pretty early. Gilbert Burns, I mean, he's good enough that Khamzat didn't want to go to the ground with him, and Khamzat's like an incredible grappler in his own right. So if he was that afraid of Gilbert Burns' jiu-jitsu, I think that says more than I could say.
And if Oliveira has the most subs in the UFC history,
what more do you need to know?
That seems like a pretty legit ground game to me.
I didn't know he held the record for that.
I had no idea. Very nice, Danny.
He also holds the record for biggest teeth in the UFC and worst eyesight. I only remember that someone ripped his glasses off after his last fight. Somebody in the crowd, as he was walking back, somebody took his glasses off and it stopped everything. And he's like, I need those. Like, give them back. Wait, what did Danny do there? I totally missed it.
Oh, he's
okay, just on the leg.
Yeah, single leg X sweep.
I'm not mad that he came up on top position, but try to dig in on a leg, man. Now he should be looking to get that foot free. All right, he's opted to kneel staple.
Side. Setting up an arm here. Upward angle. Again, Caleb gets up on top. Okay. Another just great use of effective passing here. Positioning.
Nice and heavy. Taking his time. Danny's kind of sneaking that arm out into like a ghost escape position. But it's going to be really impossible with the shoulder pressure that I know Caleb is dropping on him when he was doing that.
Yep. So Caleb, if this is one of the times that you were putting really big shoulder pressure on Danny, I don't know if it is or not, but if this was one of the times and you were saying that it wasn't working, if his arm was up underneath you like that, his shoulder isn't providing any type of reinforced support.
You talking about his left arm here, the one that's by his hips?
Left arm. Yeah. You know how like we were going over basically like the Von Flue type of a choke. It's not Von Flue, but it's a very similar style choke, just from shoulder of justice type of thing, you know?
Yeah.
If his arm was underneath that, or if you're having problems and you're noticing that the person's arm is out of the equation, it's going to be damn near impossible for you to put enough pressure on them to do that. So I don't know if this is one of those times or not, but be aware of that.
Yeah, and for Danny, I know he and I were chatting about this the other night. With side control escapes, especially against bigger guys, you really, really want to be cognizant of how you're framing and how they're pressuring into you. And because, we'll get real specific with this situation, and what we know about Caleb and how he likes to use this position. The hand that's under his, or across his stomach to the far hip, that's not going to be a really effective place to use that frame, right? Because, like I said, because of the amount of shoulder pressure he's putting on you, you're not going to be able to just hit that ghost escape on him as easily. Using a traditional hip frame, working to a shoulder frame, turning your knees toward him, getting your side guard might be a much more effective option, right? It's going to be difficult, but I think it would be more effective than where your hip frame is at now. And then like Matt likes to do, that using the underhook to bridge, hit that really strong bridge, shuck him off of you, and then come up to a single. That's another great option, but those come from well-placed frames first. Those are going to be prerequisite to any side control escape. So keep that in mind, especially while Caleb is on this shoulder pressure into your jaw kick. Get that hip frame that you're using here, switch that up, get that out of the picture. And then I think we already saw all this, so that wraps it up for the evening. Cool. That was a lot of footage. Thanks for sticking around with us tonight, guys. Business as usual. Back to class Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. I think Coach Mike is teaching tomorrow, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, Bertram will be there, so you guys can get a little no-gi flavor from Bertram. If you guys want to support us, the best way to do it. It's subscribe here on Twitch. You can use your Twitch Prime. It's no money out of your pocket, and it's money in ours, so it really helps us out. Other than that, please follow us if you haven't. Odo, thanks for all the great questions tonight. This is it's a big part of what this whole channel is about. So, and to our students who chimed in with their own input, that's what's up. That's what we want to see. All about helping each other get better, faster. Rage, thank you, and thanks for the follow. I saw you followed us a while ago, so we appreciate it. James, thanks for the resub. And yeah, Odo, keep us posted on your progress, and anybody else in chat, chime in, ask some questions. Tell us where you train, how long you've been training, what you're good at, what you suck at. If there's anything we can help you guys with, we're here to do it. So please take advantage. We always appreciate the questions. Other than that, are you teaching this week again?
I think I'm going to be on Tuesday. I think I'm going to switch with Bertram.
Oh, right on.
Give him a break. Yeah, if he's taking Monday, I'll take Tuesday.
Cool. Right on. Well, yeah, I will see you guys later this week. I'll be out of town for the first few days of the week. But other than that, trim your nails, do your laundry, don't be stinky. Subscribe over on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at MooresvilleBJJ. And yeah, we'll see you guys on Wednesday for the next stream. So take it easy.
Catch you then. Later.